In the introduction to the fourth book in the Eisenhorn series, The Magos, Dan Abnett states, "Novels are large creatures. They're like big and badly coordinated house guests, who turn up and live with you for months at a time, sometimes outstaying their welcome, so that when they finally leave, you're happy to see the back of them, what with them keeping you up late, night after night, and leaving their plot threads in your sink." I really like this quote. It helps to highlight for me that even some of the most prolific writers find it difficult at times to carry on writing and get through an entire novel. Dan Abnett, one of my personal writing heroes, has written countless comic books for both Marvel and DC, and has written over 50 novels as well as many short stories too. It's fair to say that he's prolific in his work, but how does he, among many other incredible authors, manage to keep themselves going and get so much done? What can we lesser beings who aspire to be like these individuals do to raise ourselves up and get our own stories done for people to read and enjoy? First, I would recommend that you go ahead and watch the previous video that we did about learning to write more professionally. In that I look at the process of writing as a whole and how to stop writing as a hobby and begin to turn it into something more formal. In this video though, as the title suggests, I'm going to give some advice for getting going and keeping yourself thinking positively so that you can get as many words down on the page as you can and get that story written. This video then is mainly aimed at people who have just taken that leap into writing more professionally, like I have done, and to share some of the things that I've learned during the span of my journey so far. Therefore, I want to make it absolutely clear that I have not got anything published yet, and I'm still very young and still at university. I just want to share some of what I've learned in the hopes that I can help some other people to write better and become better authors. Ready? Let's get started. So, after doing a little research, I'd say it takes a professional author whose only job it is to write to start and finish a novel anywhere between 3 and 6 months. For many, it will take a lot longer, and it's an awfully long time to be focused upon writing just one story. For some, such as Dan Abnett, who has a career in writing comic books, they will have the opportunity to give themselves time to write something different than the main project that they're working on. Even if you do this though, you'll still be dedicating a not insignificant portion of your life to doing one thing day in, day out. After writing 50,000 words of my own book in 6 months, my education has gotten in the way as well as part-time jobs, I can definitely attest to the fact that you'll need a positive and serious attitude when you commit so much time to doing this. From my own personal experience, and after a long hard day, writing can be something that you really don't want to do. It's just like going to work or school again, and sitting down and trying to put thousands of words down onto the page is very similar to writing an essay in many ways, and we all know how fun that is. Thinking positively though has allowed me to transform my attitudes, so now that writing is something that I often can't wait to do even after a really rough day. How can we do this then? So first things first, you need to get yourself excited about writing. If you're watching this, then the chances are that, like me, you're somewhat of an amateur writer. I would also be so daring as to guess that you probably aren't then able to sustain your lifestyle purely on what you write, also like myself. That means that you're also probably a student or working, and therefore have to write during what little spare time you have, making it feel somewhat like a chore at the end of the day when you just want to watch Netflix. But I found that if you can actively engage in writing throughout the day, you can get yourself excited about finally getting home and writing. Most jobs, if not all, give you time for a break or some other form of downtime that will leave you alone with your thoughts, and I know damn well that no student spends their entire day being fully committed to learning. So, instead of wasting your time staring at nothing or scrolling through social media on your phone, make it a habit to spend more time thinking about your story. Think about your characters, how you're going to develop them, where you want them to go or about the next chapter, some of the language you want to use, how it's going to tie into the next plot twist, etc, etc. Think of it as productive daydreaming. And I'm not advocating for you to slack off work or not pay attention in class, but to simply use your spare time that would otherwise have been wasted productively. I found that not only does this mean that you build up a better idea of your story, but also that it helps keep writing within the forefront of my mind throughout the entire day, so that I'm in a very positive frame of mind to write and can't wait to finally put all of those ideas that I've spent all day thinking about onto paper. It's such a small thing that you can do, and I've personally found that it really helps me enjoy writing more, just because I went out of my way during the day to get myself excited about writing. It also helps you plan your writing more, I find. I mean, if you're thinking about what you're going to write all day, it means that you're going to have a better idea of what you're going to write when you finally do go and put that idea down onto paper. Another thing that I think is key to thinking positively is not doubting yourself. Soon we'll have a video up about how you can turn your thoughts into a positive thing for your work, but until then, doubt should be your worst enemy. Only once you've gotten yourself committed to writing can you effectively turn it into a tool. As I said in the last video, simply writing will improve your skills and reading will help an awful lot too. But in order to do lots of writing to get better, you need to simply get on with it. Get rid of the doubt in your mind that says you'll make mistakes. It says you'll write characters wrong and leave gaping plot holes open. If you listen to these doubts, you'll never get to the point where you can prove them to be falsehoods. When I first started writing my science fiction book, I knew I wasn't that good. I was decent for my age, but I had started written a few of the stories but then stopped a few thousand words in once I realised that they were crap. However, with my current story, I've pushed past the doubt that made me stop, as I was determined to allow myself to improve. Sure, I've got to go back every few months and revisit the work that I've already done to bring it up to scratch, and it's slow work, but it's worth it in the end. And there are other benefits to doing this too. It allows you to learn what your strengths and weaknesses are, so that you can work on them later. All of this has come because you didn't doubt yourself and allowed yourself to just sit down and enjoy it and think positively about the entire process. I think it's going to be something that I repeat a lot in these videos, that all you have to do is write and read to a certain degree, as by simply doing this you're improving your skills and becoming a better storyteller. The final point that I would like to make about how to make yourself think positively about writing is to have an end goal and to reward yourself when you reach a milestone. In the next video on planning, I'll go into greater depth into how I plan a story, explaining that I have milestones to reach that give me a sense of achievement when I reach them. But the short version here will be that you can reward yourself for finishing a chapter or completing a scene that you've been working towards for a long time. And if you can do this, you'll keep yourself motivated and enjoy the whole process much more. Over the process of writing, I end up with quite an in-depth plan of my story, which means I have many milestones to reach to give me a sense of achievement when I complete them. This helps me to keep that positive mindset and enjoy the process more, as even when I have been writing for a long time that day, I give myself that sense of achievement that keeps me going and really enjoy what I'm doing. I hope that you've learned something about how positive thinking can help with your writing. My personal conclusions will be that in order to get an exceptional standard of writing, you need to go out of your way to think positively. If, as the amateurs that we are, we cannot motivate ourselves to sit down and write for an hour after work, how can we ever hope to do it all day as a full-time job? It's something that we must all work on, and I know I certainly do. But I think thinking positively and enjoying the process more is one of the first steps in this process, that once it's turned into a habit, the momentum that builds up as we write chapter after chapter will make it easier to carry on as our spirits are lifted. I know these videos are fairly short, but thank you for listening. I know that we're a very new and very small channel. We really appreciate you giving us the time to ramble on about stuff that we're passionate about. In the description down below you'll have some social media things, so please leave a like on this video or a comment, and hopefully we'll see you soon for our next video, which will be on the process of planning. Thank you again, and see you soon.